Either she's the most naive congresswoman in the history of congresswomen, or she knows exactly what was going on the whole time. She said, well, I reported this to the Farm Bureau after a while. You had no interest in pushing this forward. And she has a lot of explaining to do. Instead, she says, well, I'm being targeted.
We are Somalis, not black. There, I said it. Somalis are not black.
You owe more loyalty to where your ancestors are from, because the same can apply to you too, since you came to America as well, just like we did.
Might have to drop a dime on them niggas.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta stop.
I don't like that shit.
For sure, bro.
I don't like that shit.
All right, so y'all know how we do. Always pushing health, wealth, and a better understanding of self. So in this video, we're going over the Minnesota Somali community. They just been running the numbers, and they did the numbers to state that it's been almost $9 billion that have been stolen. Okay, it was first said that it was around 1 billion that was suspected, but now it's been 9 billion. So we're gonna go over this, Ilhan Omar and the Somalis, how they running over Minnesota. And we are definitely getting the Black Caucus tethers out of office. I'm gonna leave a link in the description, man. Make sure y'all support that and support petitions that we bringing onto this channel, because we changed the thing in 2026. So y'all definitely stay tuned and make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, push me on the algorithm. I greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's get it.
Nearly Somalia's entire economy. The enormous new estimate is a nearly 9-fold increase from the swiped 1 billion previously suspected, according to federal prosecutors, as you pointed out, Carly. And, you know, Brian, you mentioned that the Treasury Secretary is now trying to track this money. We know the fraud, and there's a trail for the fraud that they're starting to really uncover that grows and grows and grows. But we don't know how much of that may have gone back home to Somalia to terrorist organizations, and that's going to be a piece of this.
Yeah. Ilhan Omar, who's right in the middle of all this. Either she's the most naive congresswoman in the history of congresswomen, or she knows exactly what was going on the whole time. She said, well, I reported this to the Farm Bureau after a while. You had no interest in pushing this forward. And she has a lot of explaining to do. Instead, she says, well, I'm being targeted. No. The area in which we represent is where that was ripe with fraud, number one. And
now my thing is, why haven't they pressed charges already? Like, why haven't they, you know, came up with, you know, an arrest, deportation policy? Why aren't we, you know, getting to the action with this? That's what's alarming to me. It's like they continuing to let somebody steal and keep them in office, but that's like all politicians. I don't know why I'm tripping.
Number two is they would threaten not only racism if you look to find out where the money was going. They would say, hey, look, you want to be a congressman? You want to be attorney general? You're not going to get any votes if you continue to probe in this area, because there's 80,000 there, and that will deliver a city and a constituency. And, you know, so people just backed off.
James Comer said that he does believe that Tim Walz knew about this, but was too afraid to say anything out of fear of offending the Somali community. What about offending taxpayers?
Because some of the money, and we don't have an exact breakdown, but I would imagine much of the money that the fraudsters stole was federal funding. Now the Congress people are starting to look at this and saying, you know what, we need to have some hearings on this. They're actually even introducing legislation as a result of this. There's the Walls Act that's introduced to try to hold these state acts.
Yeah, we got to follow the money, because I did just a very little bit of research on the Black Caucus, and I'm seeing it's a lot of money being switched over here, switched over there. So most definitely, we follow the money. Politicians won't be able to be crooked. You do got lobbyists that they're trying to pay entertainers and politicians on the back end, and we could never, you know, we could never stop that completely. It's just too hard. But for these politicians that's taking money from the people, they need to go to prison for a very long time.
Actors accountable when they allow people to steal this money. But as you can see here, Congress is looking at calling Walz in and other Minnesota officials to make them explain to the American people why they're allowing people in their states to steal billions of dollars.
They just turned a blind eye. they being Governor Walz and Keith Ellison, the Attorney General, and allowed this fraud to continue. And the governor wants to say, well, we don't think it was billions. Let's say it was.
I wouldn't even say allow this fraud to continue. They're in on it. They're getting money with it. We got to stop acting like they just going to turn their eye and be like, okay, go ahead and steal. I'm not going to. No. It don't work like that. They want money too. I'm not just going to say they just turned a blind eye trying to make it seem like they just know they were in on it.
Hundreds of millions, which I do think it was billions, but let's say it was hundreds of millions. That's still too much. And that type of attitude is the attitude I see every day from Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries, who say we shouldn't worry about fraud going into the Somali population. Anyone like me who tries to question that is a racist or whatever. We're not going to be bullied in this. We're going to get to the bottom of this. The taxpayers are sick and tired of working hard and paying taxes and sending them to Washington, D.C. and different states and Democrat politicians wasting their tax dollars. We're going to find out how much money was wasted.
That's definitely what they're doing. I mean, I think all politicians is wasting our money. I don't think it has been a politician that, it probably been politicians that done some good things, but for the most part, it's all for the politician. It's all for them. They want to get the money for them. So nobody's surprised that politicians are the new streets. They're your new thieves. They're your new, they steal. We don't put the pressure on them now. They're trying to make it seem like all of these states is just crime ridden, but we know crime has been going down. The real criminals is the politicians. And we got to get them up out of here.
Who was responsible and whether or not Governor Walz and Attorney General Ellison knew about it and failed to act.
So far we've talked about housing assistance fraud, feeding our future fraud, immigration fraud. We've talked about autism center fraud and all other types of fraud. And even the SBA, y'all, the Small Business Administration is now like, hold up. We need to make sure y'all aren't defrauding us of SBA money.
The Small Business Administration also taking action. SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler announcing on X in part, today I informed Governor Tim Walz that the SBA is halting $5.5 million in annual funding to Minnesota pending further review. Pressure is also building at the local level.
So y'all see how this is affecting people who got small businesses and is doing it right. They're sucking up so much of the resources that people who are actually doing this for real can't get funded. And this is a problem. This is why Americans are so pissed on how they treat illegals that come to this country. It's like you give them everything.
Minnesota mayors speaking out over concerns state fiscal policies are hurting their residents.
Within the last 3 months, this has really gone downhill. And Brian, if we do the quick math, $9 billion in fraud divided by 5.79 million Minnesotans comes out to roughly be $1,500 a person that each Minnesotan, each hardworking Minnesotan has had stolen from them from the Walz administration and the policies coming out of St. Paul.
So $1,500 per person. Okay, that's a lot of money. Imagine somebody taking $1,500 from you right now. You're gonna be pissed.
A Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm a Minnesotan, and I'm frustrated with how it had happened, as well as the communication that's happened. So really our mayors are joining together not to point fingers and blame, but we're here to help solve the problem. That's what we do.
Now, I am going to say I think it's unfortunate. Personally, I think it's unfortunate that this is now reflecting on the entire Somali community in the country, y'all. Again, I grew up with people from Somalia, not a whole lot of people, but several. And I've met people from Somalia in my lifetime. And I've always had a good impression of them, or at least, normal impression that you get from just anybody. So, it's unfortunate that a few bad apples spoil the bunch.
I ain't even gonna say a few bad apples. I think this was conspired. I think Walz know what's going on. I'm not looking at this like a few bad apples. This was a scheme. This was a scam, an elaborate one that was done effectively. And we, the people in America, are the ones that's gonna hurt because our businesses and the resources we're not getting. So I want to know what y'all think about this, man, in the comment section, man. We is going live tonight. We're going to tap in all of the tethers. And we're going to make sure that we get these petitions pushed out there so nobody can take advantage of us in politics. But make sure y'all leave a comment, like button, and subscribe to the channel and push me on the algorithm. I greatly appreciate that. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace and love.
To have a community, you must have three things to have a community in it. You must have a wholly independent economic structure that can provide goods, service, products, and things for your own people, and jobs and tax bases for your own people. You should at least control 4 basic things. You should be trying to control water, food, medicine, and energy to be able to survive and compete.
Here we got Mr. Pollock. He had a cornfield. He took advantage of a free water test from us, and this is what we found in this water. We found sulfur, we found hardness, and we solved these problems with an easy fix of 2 tanks. So get your free water test today. Stay blessed. Click the link below.